What's up, guys? Straight from the chest. My name is Justin Groth, and guys, welcome to my personal development podcast. I want to thank for all the new listeners, and thank you, and for all the veteran listeners, and welcome to all the new guys. That's what I was trying to say in that. Guys, your loyalty means everything to me. There's a practice and an innate urgency to do this podcast, and I love all your feedback. It means a lot to me that you even give me your listening ear and your time, really, because that's something you'll never get back. The time is so important and valuable to me, and so thank you for that, guys. I really want to augment that, guys. For those of you who are new, we have a segment we like to call "We're Not Friends." So on that note, we're not friends if you're a positive vibes only person. I can't with you. I just can't. And let me tell you why I can't. Because that's what you're waiting for, right? If you're not, here it comes anyway. I can't because that's not living in reality. I believe that there's reality and there's negativity. And the reality and the negativity are there's positivity and reality. And I'm sorry, positivity and reality. And in reality, the negativity dwells, oftentimes. And that's not such a bad thing, because that's reality. And in that notion, the people that find negativity in reality, they all too often like to masquerade around positivity to shut out the negativity. And that is where they go wrong. And that's the reason why I can't with them. Because there's nothing real to fake facadial positivity. It's almost like the practice make it or fake it till you make it. That's ridiculous. You don't fake it till you make it. You practice until you make it. Period. That's it. There's no other way around it. But a lot of times people want to justify the negativity or masquerade around rather in a fake facadial positive light. Guys, you need to identify the negativity and choose to find why it's affecting you the way it is. And that doesn't mean that you mask around the negativity with positivity. That's the same thing as shoving something under the rug. You need to deal with that shit head on. And the way you deal with that is you identify it, you figure out why it's happening to you, and more importantly, you understand that it's happening for you and not to you. You understand that these are the things that I need to do in order to get out of this reality, this negative reality that I'm currently in. And it doesn't come by way of you putting on a mask in the form of positivity. And on that note, I'm also not advocating that you be just Debbie Downer all the time. But I'm telling you to identify the negativity, discern why it's there, and choose to get out of it by way of action. And understand that the negativity, aka sometimes reality, is there to break you so you can become better. So inherently, it's there for you. Nothing else. I like to often blame things on the enemy. And I blame things on the enemy because the enemy has a way about him that allows you to, I think he allows you to not see what he's doing and blame it on other people. Reality is that's him. And the enemy isn't responsible for everything, guys. The enemy is not responsible for everything that's negative in your life. And that's what I'm also conveying here. Because I'll blame things on the enemy that inherently need his blame. Because they are the enemy. But they're not, I shouldn't say blame. I'm labeling them as that because that's where they're from. They're not from God. They're from the enemy. And there's only two ways it's going to come from. It's going to come from the enemy or from God. The negativity sometimes is allowable through God. And that is kind of the dichotomy between the two subjects. Because oftentimes God will allow the negativity to not resolve itself, because it's there to make you more calloused to what it is that he wants to bring you to. The level that God wants to bring you to, the podium and the platform that he has already pre-orchestrated for you, is not going to come by way of you just living your years out to get there. It's going to come by some form of action or actions on your end. And they're going to come, I feel, innately to you. Like you're going to be drawn to them because it's your innate talent and your biological engineering and the wiring that he's already established you in from infancy, before you were even born. And oftentimes the enemy will come in and try to detour you. And he can come in the way of comfortability. He can come in the way of familiarity. We just covered that on my last podcast. But he comes not always in the form of bad. He can come by way of good. And it makes you think that it's from the end or from the God, because it's almost like a blessing. And we've already established the devil can bless too. The devil can, I don't like to say bless, but the devil can provide too. He can provide. And he can provide a lot of things that you think are coming from God, but they're really just coming from him. But in the same token, God will allow you to go through those things because he is trying to do a new thing in you. And if you keep discounting it like it's the devil and discarding it, you're never going to become polished or resilient to the actual calling that God has for you on your life. And the devil is going to see that as an opening. And he's going to come in and he's going to keep establishing comfortability and familiarity because you're cool with those subjects. You're cool with those components. You can make life go happy with those components. And oftentimes the positive vibe only people relish in that. Guys, that's just as much as a dysfunction as an addiction would be to somebody on heroin. Just as much, if anything, probably worse, because it's not identifiable. So I'm telling you to identify the negative and be able to discern why it's happening to you and make positive actions that reinforce your trajectory climb. And that doesn't come by way of you putting on a positive face and saying the phrase, positive vibes only, bro. Nah, you can miss me with that. I'm not about positive vibes. I'm about reality. And reality is not so positive all the time. Are you strong enough to embrace the negativity and be able to establish why it's there? And then by way of your hand and your faith, be able to discern that it's there to make you better? And it's not there. It's not happening to you like a victim mindset. It's happening for you, for your preservation, for your promotion, for your increase, for you to reach the pinnacle of why God put you here in the first place. That's why I'm not about that. I'm not about that. You know, oftentimes we see people that just like to talk about the positives. And they just like to, everything they say and everything that they produce in terms of their expressions and their behaviors, it's all positive. It's like, okay, you live in my world because we live in the same world here. I know that you deal with the same things that I deal with. But right now, I'm not seeing that. And because of that, I can't relate to you. I can't really trust that you are being real right now because there's nothing negative in your life. And I know because you're a human being, there's negative there. I can't with those people. And I really choose to X people like that out of my life. And I don't mean like X in a bad way. I mean, if we're in the grocery store, let's put it this way. If we're in the grocery store, I'm not going to go down your aisle. Because I know what the conversation is going to be like. And I know I'm just going to be dissecting, cutting that up in my brain as you're talking like, why are you like this? And I'm not saying, like I said, I don't have any respect for Debbie Downers either. But I do have the utmost respect, and I think you do as well, for people that advocate realness. Because that is the most transferable and that's the most relatable to people. Because we all live in the same planet. We're all here. We all deal with the same stuff, some good, some better than others. But we all deal with havoc and dysfunction and frustration in our life. So if out of 10 days, I don't see you, out of one of those days, out of the 10 days that I see you, and you're not somewhat neutral to almost like in a disposition, I'm going to not think you're a real person. I'm going to think you're masquerading around that, and you're actually suppressing all your dysfunction. And then you probably have a shit ton of dysfunction at that point. But that's not, I mean, everybody is not built the same. We're not wired the same. That's what makes this world so unique and great, is that everybody is not the same. But sometimes some people come across with a different framework and a different perspective on an everyday almost position they get shoved, like an everyday position they get shoved under the rug. I feel like that is positivity. I feel like people will masquerade around that. And that is something that I don't understand. I don't understand. And when somebody comes to you, somebody comes with a voice that is saying, and I'm not saying just me, but I'm saying people that come with a voice that goes against the bias, I think that there's more value to that because they're not running with the crowd and they're not doing what's popular, but innately they're not going with something that's appealing because they can't, because it's not how they feel. And you're going to choose to say to that person, this, that, and the other. That's fine. Discount that person. But there's a reason why they're saying that. And sometimes the truth needs to be brought out because everybody's living sometimes in a fantasy land. And that's not where we reside. We reside in the real world, and that's not fantasy. And anyway, so there's a big dysfunction with that. Shit, my coffee's almost gone. But on a more, I don't know, maybe a little bit more enlightening note, guys, you ever wondered why God gave you any kind of talent? Because I was sitting back on that the other day and reflecting, why does God give us this talent? Why do we have a talent? Why did God give us a talent to begin with? Like, what is that even? Why was he so kind? And why are we so arrogant to think that we did it all on our own? I posted about it on my story the other day about the only reason why you're anything is because the hand of favor of God is on you. And if you're going to choose to identify what it is and go with that and appoint God and align with him to receive the favor that he has already on you, then it's something that you need to give credit to. Because a lot of times we think that it's by our own hand that we made this shit happen. Because we practice. Because we're just good at it. Did you ever wonder where that good even came from? Where did your good come from? No matter of fact, where did your greatness come from? Your greatness came by way of you just practicing? Let's give it some context. Let's say you're an NBA player and you're listening right now and you're 4 or 5 years deep in the NBA. You're a star player. You start every game. You're on a great team. You think that it's because you practiced that you're a star player? So let's ask Kobe. Hey, Kobe, how are you so good? LeBron, how are you so good? Michael, how are you so good? If they came back at you with an answer that was just practice, that's exactly as wrong as the mom and dad telling their kid they could be whatever they want in life. That's a big ass fallacy. That's the biggest lie you could tell your kid. That's the biggest lie Michael, LeBron, or Kobe could tell you as to how they came up. Because they practiced. Yeah, sure, they practiced. But they first had to identify the love and the passion that was already preordained in them from the get. For some reason, there was an attraction to an orange ball, shooting that ball into a hoop. And that attraction became an obsession. And that obsession became a practice every single day. And an urgency that built into a passion. And then slowly the shots came into dribbling. And the dribbling ventured into scrimmaging with other people. And then that ventured into them being noticed and scouted and actually getting to the NBA at the end. So it wasn't just from practice. Who gave them that urgency to begin with? Who gave you the urgency to do what you do in the beginning? Was it your granddaddy? No. Was it your daddy? No. And even if you think that's a possibility, where did it come from them? Where did they get their inherent genetic talent from? There's only one person. There's only one being. There's only one entity that could give that. And for those of you who say the universe, you can miss me with that shit too. That's ridiculous and futile. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know when you say the universe, I don't even know what that shit means. Don't know. Don't care. Don't know. Because I don't operate on the universe. I operate on God. That's my faith call. God only. I don't know what this universe hippie shit is. I don't get that. Never will. But the person that gave you that inherent drive and urgency to want to pick that dumb ball up and shoot it and continuously shoot the ball, dribble the ball, practice with others in scrimmage, that was God. You just so happen to identify the label that he already pre-labeled on your life. And that's in every single one of us. For something. Could be painting, could be building, could be driving. It's in every single one of us. It's our job to continuously chase that, whatever that label is, and listen to the things that come naturally to you. That's not going to be everything. There's not going to be positive in everything that you do. There's going to be negative, but the negative is there to refine you. Going back to the same principle of positive vibes only. Guys, this is how it correlates. I promise you it's going to connect. If you think that everything is going to be positive and just a happy framework around everything, you're lying to yourself. There's a reason why you're not good at something. There's a reason why that person was mean to you. There's a reason why your mom shut you out of her life. There's a reason for it. There's a reason why that partner left you. There's a reason for it. It's not because of the devil. It's because God allowed it to happen because he's refining you and he's transitioning you and doing a new thing in your life. It's up to you to receive it. Are you going to receive that? Or are you just going to put on a happy face and make like everything's kosher and everything's okay when it's really not? And when people really can't relate to that. And people really want to pick your face apart because they can't see the authenticity that they want to see in you. Give them authenticity. Sometimes that comes in the form of vulnerability and humility. And it's the hardest thing to be those components. But I promise you, it's the most respecting and it's the most transferable. Done.